Hey, thanks for dropping by. Today I'm going to show you a special technique which will allow you to use your GPU 300 times more efficient. Yes, 300 more. Up to 300 more. The actual number depends on your skill and application, but in any ways it's going to give you a dramatic gain. This is a temporary scene I usually use to inspect my models. When I am done with a model, I export it to here and check if it is okay or not in this scene. Today I am planning to do the very same. I am going to use this scene to inspect the models that I am going to export here. Without further ado, let's jump in. Okay, there is a wall here. When you zoom it and look up close, although it is not the most realistic wall you have ever seen in your life, there are still some details looking realistic, some nice details. Here and there are some imperfections, some bumpy areas, some rough surfaces. Although they look a little bit realistic, actually none of them are existing in reality. When we switch shading, we see that it is all flat. There are no carvings, no imperfections at all. Nothing but a flat surface. Also, when we switch shading to the wireframe, you are going to see that there are only two triangles within a plane. No details at all. But when we switch back lighting, all details come back. By the way, this is a ferry that I personally modeled. I am not the best artist yet, but I am trying to improve. Okay, back to wall. In traditional ways, you will need to add more detail to the geometry in order to get those carvings and rough surfaces. But the more geometry you add, the more resource intensive your model is going to be. Also, it is going to be a lot more time consuming. The more detail you need to add, the more time you need to spend. But don't worry, today I am here to show you a lot easier way to do this. Also, a lot more efficient one. Now I would like to focus your attention to the trousers of this model. If you look carefully, you are going to notice some details. Let's rotate a bit. For example, the zipper area, the belt area, details over here, and the pocket area. There are highlights and shadows, you see. More details on the side. There are some folds here, this area. Okay, it looks very detailed, but let's take a look at the original model, the solid model. Before we apply the material, it looks exactly like this. You can immediately notice that most of these details are not present in the solid model. Look, most of these bumps and folds are not present in the solid model. Before we apply the material, most of these details are not present. When we switch to wireframe mode, you are going to see it better. You see all these details are not here because it is just a plain solid model. Let's take another example. This is the model I called Haydar. Let's take a closer look to Haydar's shirt. You see it looks like this shirt is very detailed. Actually, it is not. This is just a plain model, but when we apply the model, it looks like very detailed. No, not model. When we apply the material, actually, it looks very detailed. With this technique, a very simple model like this one can be looking like a very detailed one. So we have seen enough. Now we can see this technique in action. Here, this is Blender, you know. Actually, I'm going to show these things in Blender, but it's more or less the same in every type of 3D program, so you can prefer your favorite 3D program. I have modeled a simple shirt here. I know this is not the best model, but I think it's going to be sufficient to give the basics of this technique. When we switch to the wireframe mode, you see that it's not detailed. Actually, this is not a very suitable model for game. A true artist can do something better, but like I said, this is just for a demonstration purpose, so I think it's going to work. Let's add some detail. I'm applying multi-res modifier and adding some subdivisions. I'm switching to wireframe so we can see the details better. 4 subdivisions already look satisfactory, but I'm going to add one more. Okay, 5 is good. You see, there are more than 2 million triangles in the scene now. Detail is nice, but it's not suitable for exporting to a game engine. This is too detailed. Now let's see this technique in action. I'm switching to sculpt mode and I'm going to sculpt some details. I know that there's not all 3D software has sculpting, but all artists are familiar with the ones that support sculpting. Here I have some brushes that I have purchased previously. You can use paid brushes. It makes operation faster, but Blender has some standard free brushes. At the end, I am going to show how to use them too, but for the time being, I am going to use those paid brushes. Here I'm starting to add some random details. I am not going to pay much attention. My intention is to just create some random details. An artist can do a lot better job, but it will take time and effort. So I'm going to just make some random additions in order to keep this video short. Little bit here, little bit there. Let's make sure that no blank space remains. Let's not do all with the same brush. Let's select a few different brushes. Just a little bit more. Okay, let's use a few of the some standard and free brushes of the Blender as well. Let's pick up the draw brush and start to give some details. Let's increase the brush radius a bit. The finishes can be smoothed a little bit. Here and there, here and there. Okay, it looks quite satisfactory to me. Let's export it to Unity, but it is too detailed now. It's not possible to export a model with 2 million triangles. Also, we did not apply any material yet, so let's apply a material. I am going to apply something very standard. I am going to make a material with a diffuse and a bump map only. With the help of Node Wrangler add-on, let's create basic texture setup. You need UVs properly aligned for this technique to work. I previously adjusted UVs. So let's start with the diffuse map. From Megascans, I have previously downloaded a fabric texture. That's the diffuse map of the set I downloaded from Megascans. As you see from the zoomed view, it is nicely detailed. I'll just scale it a bit. Let's copy the texture setup for creating the bump map. I'll use the displacement map as the height of the bump node in Blender. Strength of the detail is a little bit high, so I am lowering it. And voila, the detail and the bump, the roughness on the surface is very satisfactory to me. I think it's all set and we are good to go. Now we are going to bake the details. So I need to create one texture for baking the diffuse and one texture for baking the normal. Results of baking operation will be displayed onto these textures. Click on this panel and change the render engine to cycles because Eevee doesn't support baking. I strongly recommend GPU over CPU because it's a lot faster. Samples can be set to 1 when baking. In rendering, you should keep them high, but in baking, 1 is more than enough. Then switch to bake section. First, let's select diffuse. Make sure the diffuse texture is selected. Make sure direct and indirect are unselected because we don't want light effects to be included in the baking. It's done. You see, this is the result. This is the diffuse map we have baked. Let's save it. Here comes the exciting part, because all the details will come from the normal map. Let's bake it. It's done. You see, all those colors represent some details. You will see soon. Now there is one thing remain, exporting a low poly, low detail model to the Unity. As you know, this model is not suitable for exporting because it's too detailed. We should make something to lower the details on this. For this purpose, we are going to apply a special modifier named decimate. From here, we apply the percentage, so it reduces the number of polygons into that percentage. When we hit enter, we wait a little bit for computer to calculate those variations. From that number of face count, we will see how much it's going to be reduced. It made 61,000. It is good from 2 million, but I think we have room for more. So I apply an even less percentage. Let's wait a bit. Became 2000. Although I think we can make it a little bit more detailed, I think it's suitable. So this is a tutorial video. We don't need to make it longer. Let's export this as it is. It is done. Let's switch back to the Unity. Let's add the decimated model to the scene. Let's find a good place. Okay, this is how our model looks. As you see, there are no details yet. Let's create a material from the textures that we have baked and let's see how it is going to look. Let's start with the diffuse map. Almost there, but not yet. We need the normal map. You see the detail is barely noticeable, but that's not the look we want. Sorry, I put it to the wrong place. Let's fix it. Normal looks a little bit strong, so let's lower the strength. Okay, this is more or less what we want to see. I know that this is not the best short model you have ever seen, but for a tutorial purpose, in a short video, we have made a quick application, and from 2 million triangles, we have made a version of 2000 triangles one. I can see behind from inside. I can adjust it from material properties, but this is not important because when a character wears it, it will no longer be see-through. We can fix it like that, but let's not care about this now. Okay, this is how we do it. First, we create a detailed model. Then we bake its details to textures. Then either decimate it or create a retopology model, which means an alternative model with lower number of polygons. This way, you still can display details on your models, but you do not have to eat too much video memory or too much GPU power in order to render it. So that's how you can save big on video memory and GPU power. If you find value in this video, please feel free to leave a like and subscribe to the channel. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one.